JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, escapee shot and killed by police in St. Anne. One of the four men who had escaped lockup at the Ocherous police station on August 5 this year was fatally shot in a confrontation with police on Saturday. He has been identified as 40-year-old Terence Aralol of Claremont in the parish. It is reported that about 5:05 p.m., a police team acting on a tip from Crime Stop went on a snap raid in the Amstead area of Runaway Bay in search of Aralol. Police say upon arrival at the targeted premises, the accused was not seen. However, police say on their way back, Aralol was seen on the roadway. Reports are that the police attempted to accost Aralol when he reached for his waistband and pulled out a shiny object. The police say they took evasive action and Aralol was shot and wounded, according to reports. Police say a homemade firearm was retrieved from Aralol along with two 12-gauge cartridges. He was taken to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. In the meantime, police say the search continues for 42-year-old Dennis Coburn of Islington St. Mary, who has been charged for rape. 22-year-old Javar Grant of Priory St. Anne was charged with illegal possession of firearm, and 30-year-old Jermaine Rogers of Mile Endinocherias, who was charged with illegal possession of firearm. Grange Hill residents called for a non-security presence in wake of killing. Residents in sections of Grange Hill, Westmoreland, are calling for a heightened security presence following a recent flare-up in violence. The call comes in the wake of the killing of a man in the community on Friday. Nardo Leon Grant, 40, a resident of Farm Pen District in Savlamar, was fatally shot shortly after 2 p.m. Grant, who was out on bail on gun-related charges, was returning home after reporting on condition of bail at the Savlamar police station when he was attacked and shot by men in a motor car along the Belle Isles Main Road in Grange Hill. Investigators believe members of the King Valley Gang carried out the attack. Residents in the area said that they are living in fear following the lifting of the state of emergency in Westmoreland. They argued that a military checkpoint was recently removed from the spot where Grant was fatally shot. Reputed gang leader killed in the vicinity of Nugent Lane. The Kingston Central Police are keeping a close watch on sections of Nugent Lane and surrounding communities, following the fatal shooting of a reputed gang leader on Friday. 35-year-old Kemar Patterson was fatally shot by men on foot along Kensington Avenue in the vicinity of Nugent Lane shortly after 6 p.m. Investigators report that Patterson, who was reputedly the leader of the 610 gang, was killed in reprisal for the shooting death of another man, O'Shane Brown, in the community on Thursday. Patterson was recently released from prison after 5 years in custody. The police have increased their presence in the area to prevent reprisal attacks. Mother awarded $2.4 million after son's beating and death in custody. The Supreme Court has awarded Muriel Fraser just over $2.4 million for the death of her son, Imran Ferguson, who died as a result of injuries he received from being badly beaten in police custody in 2010. Fraser had sought $20 million as redress for constitutional breaches and vindicatory damages, but was only awarded $2.4 million in damages, in addition to special damages of $60,000, which he had borrowed to assist with funeral expenses. The Ministry of Justice had contributed $120,000 towards the funeral. The mother of the 21-year-old farmer and construction worker had filed the claim against the government in 2012. The Attorney General did not file a defense, so a default judgment was entered in January 2018. In October, Justice Tana Mott Toller Reid made the award for damages after hearing submissions and reviewing evidence. She awarded special damages of $60,000 plus interest at 3% per annum from January 16, 2010 to October 27, 2022. Damages for pain and suffering being $600,000 with 3% from August 2012 to October 2022, and damages for false imprisonment at $1,225,000 with 3% interest from January 10, 2010 to October 2022. The award for exemplary damages was $750,000, while for loss of expectation of life, $240,000 was awarded. Costs were awarded to Fraser. The case is going to be appealed, Attorney-at-Law John Clark said. He had instructed Attorney-at-Law Kimberly Facey, who represented Fraser in the matter. Facey had argued that $6 million should be awarded for pain and suffering and loss of amenities, but the judge determined that $600,000 would be appropriate for the loss he experienced as a result of the assault and battery. The judge found that because Ferguson was unconscious, his pain and suffering would not be significant as that of a conscious person with similar injuries. Attorney at Law Tanisha Rowe-Coke, who represented the Attorney General, had submitted that the complainant had not established any evidence to suggest any breach of Ferguson's constitutional rights. The judge agreed and made no award. Similarly, no award was made for aggravated damages, as the judge found that there was no evidence that the deceased suffered mental distress because of the manner in which the defendant committed the tort. According to reports, on January 10, 2010, Ferguson, who lived in Green Acres, St. Catherine, was taken into police custody for damaging the windshield of a motor vehicle that was being driven by a female. He was arrested and charged with malicious destruction of property and placed in the holding area in full view of police officers on duty at the Spanish Town Police Station lockup pending bail. 6 days later, Ferguson was found unresponsive on the floor of the cell and was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital. He was later transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he died 3 days later. Fraser said she did not know that her son was either jailed or hospitalized. She said someone who worked at a funeral home and knew her son told her his body had turned up there tagged with a different name. The post-mortem and medical reports revealed that Ferguson suffered a fractured skull and multiple blunt force impact to the extremities, head and other parts of the body. The post-mortem report stated that the head injury was caused by a hard and heavy blunt weapon with a small striking surface. The judge, in deciding the amount to be awarded for false imprisonment, said it is, however, clear that while he was in the custody of the police, he was beaten to the point of unconsciousness. She said it was not known who inflicted the injuries, but those were the responses that should have been part of the defense. In any event, the police officers had a duty of common law and through a policy established by the Jamaica Constabulary Force to ensure that persons held in their custody were safe. That harm came to Mr. Ferguson while in custody means that the duty was breached and the policy was not complied with, the judge said. An award of $130,000 daily was made for the 9 days and 10 hours he spent in custody. Commenting on the award for exemplary damages, the judge emphasized that the amount being awarded should be sufficient to punish the defendant and set an example for others. The judge said the cell diary suggested that there were several inspections of the lockup throughout the day of the incident, January 16, 2010. The record suggested that at 6 p.m. that day, all 76 prisoners were in safe custody. The judge said she was not sure that the wound stated in the post-mortem report could have been inflicted in the space of 5 minutes. The cell diary stated that Ferguson was taken to hospital for treatment at 6:05 p.m. The police officers were not as careful as they should have been in carrying out their duties. Their failure to realize that Mr. Ferguson had been injured and needed medical assistance in a timely manner affected the circumstances which led to Mr. Ferguson's death, the judge added. I find the police officers disregarded Mr. Ferguson's rights and their behavior was flagrant. Fraser said her son, a past student of St. Catherine High School, wanted to be a soldier. 19 killed, 45 injured in fire so far this year, says Mackenzie. 19 people have been killed and 45 injured in fire since the start of the year, according to local government minister Desmond Mackenzie. Mackenzie, who was speaking at the graduation of a batch of 109 new firefighters in St. Mary on Saturday, said 1,468 people were left homeless between January and October. The fire brigade received over 15,000 emergency calls over the 10 months, the minister disclosed. A record number of 20 women were among the batch of graduates, with Mackenzie commending them for joining the fire brigade. Mackenzie commended the fire brigade for contributing significantly to saving lives and property. He, however, lamented what he said has been the indifference Jamaicans have shown to firefighters over the years. Sometimes the Jamaican people do not recognize and appreciate the work of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and I want to urge you not to get discouraged when you hear people cuss. Mackenzie said when people do things to create fires, like electricity theft, firefighters can't be blamed for the lack of responsibility shown by some Jamaicans. In sports news, Clarendon College beat Central High for 10th Issa da Costa Cup title. Clarendon College won their 10th Issa da Costa Cup football title on Saturday after beating first-time finalist Central High 3-0 in the final played at the St. Elizabeth Technical High Sports Complex in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. Clarendon College, who had looked sluggish in their two previous games, the semi-finals against Manning School and the semi-finals of the Issa Champions Cup against Kingston College, rebounded to beat a Central High team that never managed to put on a consistent challenge. Clarendon had beaten Mannings in sudden death penalties, but lost 4-2 to Kingston College. On Saturday, goals from Malachi Douglas in the first half and Christoph Graham and Kahim Dixon in the second half secured yet another title for Clarendon College. Douglas opened the score in the 14th minute when he finished off a brilliant move down the middle of the central line defence. Graham scored his second goal of the season in the 60th minute when he held his composure in the face of the onrushing central line goalkeeper, Stephen Hamilton, and guided the ball past him into the open goal. Dixon was well placed at the far right post in the 85th minute to tap in across from Marquis Reed, who had danced past two defenders on the left wing. Glenmuir High win record equaling 7th Ben Francis KO title. Glenmuir High won a record equaling 7th Issa Ben Francis knockout title on Saturday after beating last season's champions Edwin Allen High 2-0 in the final played at the St. Elizabeth Technical Sports Complex in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. It was Glenmuir's first win in the KO in 13 years since 2009 when they last won, adding to titles won in 1993, 1994, 1999, 2004 and 2005. They joined Cornwall College on 7 wins. Owen Watson gave Glenmuir High the lead from the penalty spot in the first half, and David Reed added the second as the Andrew Peart coach team went through the competition without conceding a goal. It was the first goals conceded by Edwin Allen, who were seeking to join Glenmuir High, Cornwall College and St. Elizabeth Technical as teams that had retained the title. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.